The Mexico City Grand Prix has sparked unprecedented controversy, with the FIA's handling of the race becoming the dominant story overshadowing even the on-track action. Lando Norris took the lead of the Drivers' Championship from teammate Oscar Piastri by just 1 point, with Red Bull's Max Verstappen now just 36 points behind Norris. With only 4 races remaining this season, the Drivers' Championship is providing absolutely everything fans love in Formula One at the moment. However, the bigger story in the paddock was the FIA's handling of the race, which included questionable penalties, ignored infringements, a controversial virtual safety car, and most alarmingly, a marshal almost killed. During the action-packed first lap, which saw numerous drivers head off track at the turns 1, 2, and 3 complex, contact between a number of cars caused bodywork to be left in the tight chicane. One of those drivers was Lawson, whose contact with Carlos Sainz caused enough damage to his car that he had to pit at the end of the first lap. When he emerged from the pit lane, he was confronted with 2 marshals running across the track, having been clearing debris from the opening corners directly in front of the New Zealander. The marshals appeared to be completely unaware that Lawson could even have been there, as they casually jogged across the exit at turn 1, just as Lawson came through the corner. A shaken Lawson said to his race engineer, Ernesto Desiderio, over team radio, "Wait, the F? Oh my God, are you kidding me? Did you see that?" Fortunately for the marshals, Lawson was warned about the double-waved yellow flags instructing drivers to slow down at that section of racetrack and was not driving at racing speed. "Well done to avoid them," Desiderio replied. Lawson then stated, "I could have effing killed them, mate." The incident brings back memories of Esteban Ocon's incident at the 2023 Azerbaijan Grand Prix, in which he narrowly avoided a string of photographers in the pit lane, and will again trigger more questions about the FIA's safety protocols. After the race, Lawson was outraged that the marshals had been placed in such danger, apparently without being informed that he was out of time with the rest of the field after pitting early. "I honestly couldn't believe what I was seeing," he said. "Boxed, came out, and then I got to turn 1, and there were just 2 dudes running across the track. I nearly hit one of them. Honestly, it was so dangerous. Obviously, there's been a miscommunication somewhere, but I've never experienced that before, and I haven't really seen that in the past. It's pretty unacceptable. We can't understand how, on a live track, marshals can be allowed to just run across the track like that. I have no idea why. I'm sure we'll get some sort of explanation, but it really can't happen again," the FIA said in a statement. Following a turn 1 incident, race control was informed that debris was present on the track at the apex of that corner. On lap 3, marshals were alerted and placed on standby to enter the track and recover the debris once all cars had passed turn 1. As soon as it became apparent that Lawson had pitted, the instructions to dispatch marshals were rescinded and a double yellow flag was shown in that area. We're still investigating what occurred after that point. The takeaway from the FIA statement is that the marshals were approved to enter the track after the pack had passed on lap 3, but the message that Lawson had pitted took too long to reach the marshals' post. The marshals then entered the track with what they thought was a 1-minute window to clear the debris without realizing that Lawson would be coming through their sector. However, that was far from the only complaint about the stewarding of the Mexican Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton had some serious issues. George Russell was furious about what he saw. Fernando Alonso went on the offensive as well. And fans were absolutely baffled by a late virtual safety car, which ruined the climax of an incredible race. The Mexican Grand Prix was all set for an incredible final 2 laps. Max Verstappen and Oscar Piastri, both desperate for as many points as they could find in their hunt for the World Drivers' Championship, were chasing down Charles Leclerc and Ollie Bearman respectively. Both had got within DRS range, and both looked set to go wheel to wheel over the dying laps. However, on the penultimate lap of the 71-lap race, the virtual safety car came out for Sainz's stricken Williams, which the Spaniard parked in the Foro Sol Stadium section. At first, it appeared that Sainz's car was well off the racing line behind a barrier and absolutely no risk to any drivers still on track. It was still on the runoff area within the stadium, but due to the low-speed nature of the chicane in there was zero risk of a driver hitting it. The decision to deploy the virtual safety car baffled the commentators and fans who took to social media to complain about how it spoiled the end of an incredible race. The FIA has now explained that it wasn't where Sainz's car was, which was the problem. It was the fact that it looked like it was on fire. Sainz spun and stopped in the runoff area on the outside of turn 14. His car came to a halt in an exposed position. The FIA spokesperson said, The car subsequently began smoking, and race control received notifications of fire, making it clear that marshal intervention would be required for recovery. With the risk of fire, the VSC was the FIA's only option. Piastri did admit it probably saved him from Verstappen, but the Dutchman wasn't at all fussed, saying, "No, not really. I mean, sometimes a safety car has been very nice to me as well in my career. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. It's how it goes in racing." It was Verstappen and Leclerc who both benefited from the race's other controversial incident, which created some fury among their competition. Turn 1 was once again to blame for the controversy, but it wasn't stewards on track that was the problem this time, it was drivers off it. During a hectic run down to Turn 1 on the first lap, 5 drivers left the track and rejoined after Turn 2, with none of them being punished for their actions. Leclerc, Max Verstappen, Andrea Kimi Antonelli, Carlos Sainz, and Liam Lawson all cut the corner at the start. Oscar Piastri also went off at the exit of Turn 1, but returned before Turn 2. Fernando Alonso and George Russell were both furious that none of their competitors were punished for what they saw as a blatant cutting of the track to gain an advantage. The Aston Martin driver said he made a good start off the line. "We made up some places. We were aggressive into Turn 1 and everything was looking good," he told the official Formula 1 channel. "But I think a couple of cars went just straight in Turn 2 and 3, and then they rejoined like 3 or 4 cars in front of me, so it's a little bit unfair. I would say it's the second time in a row that on the first lap in the first corner, the FIA is looking the other side." So, lesson learned. Fans can expect Alonso to be cutting Turn 1 at any chance he gets for the rest of the season. George Russell was equally annoyed as he saw a number of cars ahead of him in the top 5 cut the track on the first lap. Max fully centered across the grass and one of the Ferraris just bails onto the grass, he said. The first corners were decisive for the outcome of his race. "I struggle to understand how 3 drivers can cut the track and just continue with no penalty. In life, if you can risk everything with no consequence, you'll do this. But it ends up punishing the people who are driving properly." It was baffling to watch the number of drivers who seemed to decide that avoiding the first 3 turns was going to be easier than staying on track and fighting for position. When asked what should be done about it and whether the drivers should have been punished, George Russell said, "It all comes down to the circuit. If there's that get out of jail free card, if it were gravel, nobody would be there. We've seen this almost every year we've raced here. I think it was Carlos last year, Sergio the year before, Lewis 10 years ago. It's like a lemon race. So, I don't know. Something needs to change there, because if you can just send it down the inside, you either make the corner or you just cut across the grass and come back in the same position you were before. That's not how it should be. The way the track limits can be abused at some tracks is a constant complaint, and the answer is always to add gravel.